All right, and we are recording. Welcome to Pressing Issues Podcast, Episode 2. Today, I have Rule with me from last week. She's crocheting, but she will be
I'm
involved
here. I'm
with this.
listening.
She's got a cue, and if she doesn't get everybody's stuff crocheted in time, we may not see Rule again. So I
No,
want
she's like to death.
she's crocheting for her life. So, and then we got Shade. Shade's joining us, man. Shade is a friend. Oh, correction. Shade is the husband of a friend that I had in high school, and felt that you'd be good to have on with us and talk about some stuff. So,
She's right over there too, by the way. She says, "Hey."
oh, hey, tell Kim I said hey, man. So,
Yeah, she's gonna be laughing this whole time, I'm sure.
all right, let's start cooking. So, we'll start chill. We'll start nice and chill. What's everybody's, I guess, like what their nerdiest interests would be? Like what's something that you guys are into that I guess some folks would consider nerdy or niche or something. Oh,
You want to go first, Rule, or?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me if you want to go.
Um, well, I mean, I still play old school RuneScape, so I mean that's kind of I'm also an Iron Man just to kind of like kick it up an extra level of nerdy. So
okay, okay.
I played you guys until not that long ago, maybe like a year ago. I think I stopped.
Is what's the player base on old school like nowadays? Because I remember RuneScape being around when I was in school.
Yeah. Well, there was I mean, it's gone through its phases, The player base is actually like really decent considering the game's like kind of technically over like 20 years old.
Dang.
Um, yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of debatable how big it actually is because if you don't want to count the bots, you have to question like what percentage of the player base are bots. And so then that conversation comes up but I mean, there's a lot of players still,
That's good. That's cool.
especially in
Yeah.
old school. RuneScape 3 is kind of dead, I think.
I know some people who play RuneScape. I've never tried it though. The last time I tried, I was in 4th grade, and that was before I knew lying on the internet was like a thing that I could do. And I put in my real age, and it like told me I was too young. So I was like, damn, can't
Oh.
Yeah.
play RuneScape. Just get back on WoW. So I did.
It's just kind of like how Steam will ask your birth date before you look at like an older game. And everybody in the world was born on January 1st.
I
So
swear I keep forgetting like what birthday I actually put in for Steam, and I think I keep putting in the wrong birthday. But it's never kicked me out.
I'm pretty sure I've put in like 100 different birthdays. I don't think they minded. I think it's just them covering their butts, making sure that
Yeah.
nobody gets in
Catching the
trouble.
dummies.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
um, I would say for me, I'm actually like into a lot of stuff that I guess some folks would consider niche. We have PC. I mean, gaming's not as niche as it used to be.
No.
World of Warcraft
Common.
is a hobby within its own self. It's almost like a hobby within a hobby. Um, I'm into like soccer, like on a world scale, like world football. Like I'll watch the
Oh.
World Cup and go to matches and stuff like that. I would arguably say it's my number one sport. Like I support Arsenal and everything. I got that, but I would say probably the I guess nerdiest, most niche thing I would say is probably professional wrestling. I'm into professional wrestling.
Dang.
I like wrestling quite a bit.
I could see that with you.
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but but
Nothing
no,
bad.
When you say professional wrestling, you mean like the show, like the whole theatrical kind of thing?
yeah, like WWE.
WWE.
Right.
I don't really I don't really watch WWE. They sometime around 2007, 2008, they kind of took it upon themselves to change the product and like aim it more towards children, and it culminated in like a really watered down, really stupid product. Like, I remember watching Edge and Lita having sex in the middle of the ring after after he won the championship. I mean, it was hilarious. You know what I'm saying? I remember Stone Cold held Vince McMahon at gunpoint in the middle of the ring if he didn't get his job back. Like all kinds of stuff. But then they had to they had to change that up, man, because I guess the sponsors weren't too happy about it. Like, I had seen some, there was some good stuff when we were kids that was going on. But then they watered down the product, so I stopped watching them. And then I started to get even more niche. I started watching New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I love New Japan. It's so fucking goofy.
You watch New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Not a lot. I know of it though. I've seen some stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't tell you like people, but
so much
just funny fucking things.
Yeah, man. Like, so much so that I actually went to Japan in 2019 to go to their Wrestle Kingdom show.
Damn.
And
that's cool.
That trip will be a whole other podcast. That was a whole thing, man. Like, it was a good time, because I stayed in Shinjuku, and I can't think of I can't remember the name. I believe the name was like, it started with a K, but it's based on the location that's in the Yakuza games, almost like mapped out. Like, it's supposed to be the bad part of Japan, but like, I don't know. A guy came out. He was like, "Hey man, you want to see some freshly baked titties?" And I was like, "No, I don't want any cooked boobs today." So I just kept going.
Fuck?
Yeah, man, it's wild. I have to find the photos. But yeah, I watched New Japan, and then like there was a new American company that started called AEW, or All Elite Wrestling, and I started following them loosely. But honestly, I guess I would say I'm more on the casual side of it right now. It just kind of fell out with me, but yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. I can give my opinion about wrestling, but it's going to be a hot take.
Go ahead. Go.
I think like WWE type stuff is like super fake. And I mean, if you're into that though, it's fine. It's kind of like being into plays. But then there's like, I don't really want to harp on that either, because then there's like, real wrestling, and that's like guys just teabagging each other in tights, and I don't really enjoy watching that either, but it's like, okay, that's the real wrestling, but it's like, man, that's really uncomfortable to watch. But the theatrical thing is cool, it's just like, I mean, it's like a play, it's all scripted, and I mean, it depends on if you're into it,
That's really what it is. It's a very athletic performance art.
It's LARPing for macho men.
Yes.
I mean, scripted too, you know what I mean? It's like it's theater.
Yeah.
It's the male soap opera, as they've called it.
Absolutely, I love that.
It's the male soap opera. But yeah, man. I mean, I've been a fan of it. Like, my problem now, and this is gonna sound so stupid, y'all. This is gonna sound so goofy. My problem now is, WWE does its thing. It's good when they have big events. Like, I'll watch WrestleMania, I'll watch stuff like that, and that's when they decide they want to perform. But with AEW has this fascination with like indie wrestling, and indie wrestling just has all kinds of goofy stuff, right? So imagine like a guy that's like 150 pounds. Well, that guy will go and just beat like this unbelievable, like larger than life 310-pound 6'3" person. And it just,
the underdog.
Yeah, it knocks me out of it. I'm like, there's no way in hell. Like, this is not.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like what I'm watching. It's not good. And it kind of it kills my immersion. Like, there's supposed to be a suspension of disbelief when you're watching professional wrestling, but it just, with AEW nowadays, like they try to push wrestlers that like you're just like, you're like, okay, like I guess, So I don't know. I don't know. But that's enough about wrestling. No more wrestling talk. That's it.
Okay.
I'll kill it. I'll kill the wrestling talk. Y'all are just like,
All right. I'm here.
you're like, thanks,
listening.
very insightful.
I'll talk about wrestling as much as you want, man.
No, y'all are fine. What else we got here?
I haven't answered. You went on your wrestling tangent. I didn't answer.
Oh, you didn't? I'm sorry.
No.
Go
it's
ahead.
fine. I'm just gonna cry in the corner. Be right back. No, I mean, obviously I play WoW. I've been playing WoW since I was 6. I'm a huge Trekkie. Love Star Trek to death. I think it's better than Star Wars. That's a hot take. Then I really love yarn. I love yarn. I'm dorky about yarn and paper. That's really it.
There's a lot of emotion.
There's like, now I'm thinking of like, okay, well, what are the big things about me? Sci-fi, but that goes back to Star Trek. However, okay, slight tangent. I get really bad like anxiety when I'm driving at night because I can't see in the dark. And you know, I used to go on long road trips, and so to come up with a way of like coping with the driving at night by myself, I started imagining that I was the like pilot of a spaceship, and I came up with like this whole fucking universe. I had names for like different trucks coming down the road, and like it was all sci-fi, and it still happens to this day. Just without even trying.
I have that kind of imagination, but like when I'm in the shower, like, or when I'm exercising. When I'm I'm serious. When I'm exercising, I'll pretend that like I'm like getting ready to debate somebody on like a presidential stage or something. Like I'm running for president or something. And I'll be on my like elliptical or whatever. And I'll be like, I gotta get in shape to debate Trump or some shit, some dumb shit. And then like I'll imagine myself in a setting, and for whatever reason, like it boosts me, man. It pumps me up.
Fox News.
I'm like, I gotta exercise to save the country. Like that's how I feel. Like I have and then it like in the shower and stuff. Like I'll be in the shower and I'll just be thinking. And I guess I'm a good daydreamer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you passively exercise your body all day long. As you do, random things. It's good to exercise your mind too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Huge W.
true and real.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic.
And I'm assuming, yarn would be like your love of crocheting and stuff.
Yes, I've got. Sorry,
No,
hands not happy. I have so much yarn on my desk right now. I've got like half-made things everywhere. Like, I love yarn.
How many projects are you working on right now?
1, 2, 3, 5 things right now. I'm working on this dog. Can't really tell it's a dog because the lighting in here is bad. But this dog, that pair of shorts I was just working on, the TNT box, a blanket that's in the living room, and then a bag for Gandhi. Yeah. It's a lot.
Man.
Yeah.
How many of those projects are you getting paid for?
3.
3? Okay.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
The blankets for me, and then the bag for Gothy. We did a little barter and trade thing. She made me some stuff for Twitch.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Shade, what kind of hobbies you got going on, man?
Well, I mentioned the gaming thing. Other than that, there's the homestead. We have a lot of birds here. I built a greenhouse out of some trees that we cut down. I put up this like a big garden area to keep the birds out because we have a lot of birds and they'll eat everything if we don't keep them out. But I mean, just kind of working on just homesteading stuff. Working on the garden, working on the greenhouse. I like I collect things once certain things. A little bit less so now that I don't play card games anymore. I used to like collect cards. Now sometimes I collect books or other things. I like to shoot guns once in a while.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much just like raising kids and watching movies and like farm stuff.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I saw the pictures of the greenhouse, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
So
there was an area of saplings that when we first moved here, it was like just barely saplings. I'm like, okay, I need to go through and like cut all that down at some point, and that got put off for a couple of years. And then all of a sudden, these like little saplings are like a little forest. They're like thick, thick
Oh,
trees.
wow.
And, like, so I'm like, okay, well now it's not using a lawnmower like a bush hog or something. Now it's like using a chainsaw.
oh
And as
dang,
I was putting them down, I was like, I could probably build something with this. I'd never done anything like that before, so I kind of just winged it, and it worked out.
that's cool. That's cool. If I may go on a small tangent,
Yeah.
you say you played cards. What type of cards did you play?
Well, like I said, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, from like when I was a little kid all the way up until like 2012 or yeah, I think 2012. I went to nationals and I did really well to begin with, and then I lost like twice.
Oh,
And my chance of like going into day two was like pretty low, so I decided to just bail because at that point I had my first son and my wife with me, and like they spent a whole day just kind of like hanging around. It wasn't really fun for them, and I
Yeah.
didn't think I was gonna make it to day two, so I went ahead and dropped out, and I did this like qualifier thing, and I beat it's this like single round elimination thing with like 12 people, and you have to go completely undefeated and you get like an invite to the next year. And I
Mm-hmm.
did that. I went completely undefeated in that, got my invite to 2013, and then nationals, and then life just happened and we didn't have like the money and everything by the time that rolled around. We were like, life. And then I think I just kind of quit until the COVID, and then I kind of got the urge to be around people again and like socialize. And I was like, do people still play Yu-Gi-Oh? Is that still a thing? And I
Yeah.
looked it up. I called a local card shop, and they're like, yeah, we host tournaments. And so I did that for a couple of years, and about a year ago, I just kind of quit. And I think they don't even host tournaments there anymore, and I
Oh
sold off a
darn.
lot of it.
I
dang.
I know COVID jacked a lot of things up. I was a big Magic the Gathering player. I never played competitive on that scale, but I played it quite a bit. Um, but like COVID, I moved to Orlando. That was the first problem. People in Pensacola, I could go to any card shop and I could sit down. People be, hey man, come on, sit down or whatever. One of the best places I ever played was in Mobile, Alabama. It's like 40,
Interesting.
50 minutes, like west of Pensacola. Went over there to a place called I think it was called Gamers and Geeks, man, and like the people were so nice. Like everybody was just so nice and it was so welcoming, and I enjoyed playing. Dude, coming down to Orlando, man, people were acting like super tough, and I people would talk crap about each other at the shops, and people were just like mean and that. It was just a different aura, just a different atmosphere. So it took me out of that, and then this may seem this may be a hot take as well, but as soon as I told myself, okay, COVID had passed by and I was going to try it again, they came out with this Lord of the Rings set, and I said, huh, that's interesting. What does Lord of the Rings have to do with Magic the Gathering? Because Magic the Gathering is its own, universe and whatever. And
Yeah.
then turns out they had like turned Aragon. Y'all are familiar with Lord of the Rings universe, right?
Yeah.
They had turned Aragon black in the set,
Okay.
and I said, what are y'all like? What? And there was a bunch of backlash, right? Because like you have this established character set in this like Eastern European atmosphere, medieval atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
I understand. I get that it's fantasy, but it drives me nuts. Y'all don't understand what race swapping does to me. Like, it's... I can't stand race swapping. Like,
Okay.
it...
All right,
it
well, we just added a topic. Let's talk about Ariel.
it's don't even get me started on the Little Mermaid. You want to see me change? You want to see it? You want to see another side of me? Talk about the Little Mermaid 2023. Talk about the dude. I swear to God, dude. Like,
Talk about it, Larry. Tell us how you really feel.
I know. Book it for next Sunday. All
right.
We only need one topic. We only need one topic for next Sunday.
Okay.
I can't stand race swapping because to me personally, it's pandering. Right? I'm a black man.
Mm-hmm.
Give us original characters.
Yeah.
Give us original characters. You know how proud we are to have Black Panther, to have T'Challa, you know, how proud we were of Blade, the job that Wesley Snipes did. You know what I'm saying? And like all the numerous, you know, watching Denzel Washington and all of his, you know, original movie roles that he's had throughout the years. You know, Will Smith, watching him in Independence Day. That was sick. You know what I mean? I Robot, all, you know, we've had these original and established characters, and we appreciated that work. We don't need an established white character, an established Hispanic character, or Asian character to be race swapped just for you know, shits and giggles. Like we don't need that. We didn't ask for that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who is this for? Because I can tell you right now, when I go into the freaking card shop, or I go into any of these nerd spaces, there's not too many black people there in the first place. All right, let me be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I hate the pandering.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. Like, and I feel like I hate the term. I hate this term so much. When wokeism is when it gets into my entertainment and it starts affecting my entertainment for the negative, there's some good things about being woke too. You got to acknowledge that. But there's a lot of things that I'm seeing that are very unnecessary that's happening as well. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I just okay. I'm gonna cut it, but it bothers me. And it made me literally want to go and just sell all my Magic cards. Like, I'm actually still paying. I don't even want to touch the game no more. I don't even want to touch the game because you want to know why? Yo, guess what? I looked at Wizards of the Coast and I looked at their employee demographics.
Mm-hmm.
They only employ like 4 to 5% black people at the whole entire company.
Yeah.
You guys want to race swap the freaking characters in the universe? How about you race swap some employees? All right, if we're talking like that.
Well, it's virtue signaling. You know, I mean, it's pandering, like you said. You put it really well. And I could have, you know, if you just brought up the subject of like race swapping characters and were like, go, you know, I would have said most of the same stuff. But of course, like when I say it, you know, as a white guy, it comes off as, you know, taking an issue with black people, you know. But when you say it, I think it's a lot more impactful because you're saying it from the perspective of a black guy. Like, you know, I don't need elves to be black, you know. Like I two of my favorite actors are like Morgan Freeman and Will Smith, you know, and like you said, they play a lot of really good original characters. And I can, you know, the whole narrative there is like, oh well, you know, you can't enjoy Spider-Man unless Spider-Man's black, you know, because you're a black guy. So if he's not black, then you can't relate to him. So you know, there's no way for you to enjoy Spider-Man unless Spider-Man's black like you know, and that's so absurd. You know, we all know that's absurd. I can enjoy black characters. You can enjoy white characters. We don't need to race swap anybody, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know who Miles Morales was until the game dropped. I don't read the comics.
He's brand new Spider-Man because of Childish Gambino.
Really?
Yes. In an episode of Community, he's talking about being the first black Spider-Man, and somebody was like, well, why don't we make it a fucking comic? And he is referenced in the newest movie from that scene.
You're lying.
I'm not.
Miles Morales, this character that they've made 2 movies about, gave their own standalone game, has comics now, and he's about to be in the next Spider-Man 2. You're telling me this character was created just from Childish Gambino a few years ago when Community was going? That's where the character came from?
Mm-hmm. That's where it came from.
Listen to me. Spider-Man, hold on. Let me look.
Hold on, I'm gonna send you this article right now.
Well, you
Okay.
guys look, I just want to say that somebody made a really good point too, which is that like a lot of the people who are getting race swapped are like gingers, and so, like Ariel was like just the latest example. And they're like, why are gingers being like erased? You know, it's like a race or whatever from like media. And they're like, what are you talking about? And this guy listed like 10 characters that were all ginger and got like race swapped to like black. And I was like, man, that, when you actually go through the list, it's a lot. And Ariel is just like the latest victim.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really wild. Because Spider-Man, I'm looking here, has been around since 1962. I thought Miles Morales had been around at least since the 90s, the early 2000s, the 80s. There's so much history here. I was like, oh, dang. I mean, I grew up watching the Spider-Man cartoon. I've gone to Universal and I've written a Spider-Man ride. I know a lot of these characters from growing up, just watching a lot of the media from the Spider. I never read the comics. I don't read the comics, but I like a, good superhero flick. I'm literally shocked. I'm shook.
Knowledge right here, big brain.
That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this. Not that I have any real problems with Spider-Man with Miles Morales, because like he's not necessarily taking Peter Parker's spot. Like they're not calling him Peter Parker.
No, he's
Right.
in a different universe.
Yeah.
Across
I would
the
have an
Spider-Verse.
issue.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I would have an issue with that if they were calling him Peter. But like, I went to go see Across the Spider-Verse, which I think is a trash movie. That's a hot take. People love Across the Spider-Verse.
I haven't seen it yet.
I thought that movie was garbage. That's a whole tangent. Book it for next week. We'll put it on
the movie first.
We'll put it on the
Review.
docket for next week.
Yeah.
Go see the movie.
Okay.
People are going to be like, oh, it's so great. It's so great. Gwen is this, Gwen is that. And I'm like, it ain't about Gwen.
I heard about the Gwen shit, and I got opinions on that.
Oh, no.
We'll talk about it after I watch the movie.
Yeah.
I need to get my own. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Spider-Man's whatever, but I mean, like they definitely just race swapped Ariel, and like things like that, like things like the elves, things like the mermaids. It's like something that really bothers me about it is like there's like 100 mermaids, you know what I mean? And they all live at the bottom of the ocean, and they, like, humans have a whole bunch of different races in context because we live across all these continents, and we've been separated for like thousands of years, and it's like, is that really, why would there be different races of like, one tribe of elves that's like 10,000 years old, you know what I mean? And like one village of mermaids at the bottom of the ocean. Like, how is that, or why would there be different, like, they don't need to be like, white or anything, but they're obviously all going to be the same race, and it's like the drive to push diversity is just like so intense. You have to like check these boxes of like, okay, do we have at least 3 different races? All right, good. Now it'll get approval from the producers. And it's like you said, it's just unnecessary. It's like it's pandering for the sake of pandering.
Yeah.
And it's done pretty much by white liberals for white liberals, so they can like virtue signal about how much they care about diversity. But they don't. Like you said, they have like 95%, white liberals on their staff. They don't actually care. They care about signaling, but they don't care about action.
You know, if you ask me right now, DeMarcus, you're an African American. Would you rather? Oh, excuse me. I just doxed myself. It's okay.
Boo.
Boo.
Downvote.
Whatever, dude. It's fine.
Larry,
Larry, if you were to choose to live in 1950s Florida or 2023's Florida, I would most certainly choose 2023. We live overall in a better timeline, right? I just like the. I just think that our entertainment needs to be left alone. Because after a long day's work, some people may be gone days at a time. A lot of the people I was in the military with 6 months at a time. You know, you want to come back, you want to chill, you want to relax after work, and you just want to enjoy, you know, going to the movies. You want to go enjoy, you know, a game that you may be playing, a show that you're, you know, watching, sports that are going on, and you just don't. You don't. That's not the time to be preaching to people.
you don't necessarily need politics injected into everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't need to watch a movie and have conservative politics injected into it, and I would prefer that, you know, the other side of the aisle's politics also not be injected into it. But it just so happens that the vast majority of media, like all of Hollywood, happens to be politically left, and you know they're the ones making, you know, almost all the movies, and so, you know, they choose to inject their politics into it. I wish they wouldn't. You know, there are some movies that I think are, you know, good regardless, and some that don't strike me as political. But I would really like for all of the movies, you know, that, I mean, some movies can be political if they advertise that, you know, like, hey, look at this, like, you know, look at this political thing. But if you're watching like a Disney movie, I don't want politics of either side injected into that. You know, I'd rather it be politically neutral, you know, and just carry the messaging should be like, you know, some typical fairy tale type messaging, you know, like goodness always wins, you know, like the bad guy always loses, you know, be righteous and moral, and you know, and whatever. um I don't think that's asking too much, you know. You don't have to like inject any, you know, obvious politics into it.
Yeah.
What obvious politics is injected into a Disney movie?
Well, you'd have to give me a specific movie and I could talk more about it.
I mean, you said Disney, so I'm just like, what movies on the top of the list can you think of?
Well, I know they kind of really famously released a movie recently that like completely bombed because it was like nothing but like wokeism.
What
Uh,
was it?
was it uh do you remember what that movie was? No.
Elemental, Strange
Uh,
World.
Strange World. That's it. I had heard a little about Elemental, but yeah, Strange World. Yeah, just
I've
like
never
just
heard
a
of Strange World. I know a
Strange.
big one people complained about was Turning Red.
Oh yeah. Oh Lord, I remember that. I remember that discourse. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a really losing fight too, because when they're so obvious about it, people like me just avoid it. You know, like my wife told me one day, like, "Hey, there's this new Disney movie, Strange World. You want to watch it?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no. That's woke propaganda. You know,
Well,
we're not letting."
what's wrong with it? Like, what's the controversy?
I can.
Um,
Larry?
I can say what it is.
What is it?
Because I had no idea what the movie was either. But then my son was like, "Hey, I've saved up my allowance. I'd like to take you and mom to go see Strange World." So we
oh,
go see Strange World. Yeah, it was very nice of him, but he got roasted, man. We go, we go see Strange World, and the it just wasn't a good story. But you sure enough knew that the son was gay. They had to make that a focal point, even though like it had nothing to do with the movie. I mean, it just didn't have anything really to do with the movie, but like, I mean, I imagine being it didn't bother me. It's just whatever. But I imagine a parent that doesn't, you know, want their children exposed to stuff like that, or now has to answer questions from their children regarding that, maybe at an earlier age than what they wanted to. And I'm just trying to see it from both sides here. I imagine that being, you know, kind of a like, oh Christ, you know,
Yeah.
type of conversation. But then it just didn't help. Listen, a lot of the things that people fight about, a lot of the discourse that happens, it wouldn't happen if the material is good. If the content is good, we wouldn't care. Because
That's a fair point.
if Little Mermaid came out and it was the next Lion King, and Little Mermaid was black, dude, and everybody was like, "Listen, we know we race swapped her. We got it. Y'all gotta go see this, right?" And we went to go see it, and it was a bussin' movie. We were any person that had an issue with Ariel, including myself, would they would just forget about it, and you watch the movie. But the problem with Strange World was it just wasn't good at all. Like my son was like, "I'm done with this movie," and we got up and walked out of the theater before it was finished. Like,
Damn.
A quick note on the Strange World is that it's like there's a gay main character. I haven't watched the movie, but I have like seen clips of it or heard about it. And that's kind of the point I was getting at is like when you get so woke that it's like obvious right from the get go. I'm not gonna watch the movie and then complain about it. I'm just not gonna watch the movie, and neither are my kids or anyone else. But one part of it I think was like his grandma or somebody. He was like coming out to, and like they just again, it's like secondhand information, but like they just completely like did not like they didn't even like bat an eye at it, you know, like what, like, you know, what's your name, and he's like, well, his name is like, you know, Larry or something. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And then like she's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, like doesn't even question it, you know, doesn't. And this is like kind of the idea that they want to have like a world where it's not just like where some things aren't like legal, they're not just acceptable, it's like so normalized that you can't even like oh, like you're gay? Okay. Well, yeah, I didn't know that. You know, they can't even question it. Like it's 100% just accepted as if it was like as normal as could possibly be, you know? And I don't think that's the world we live in. You know what I mean? I don't think it would be wrong for the grandma to have like, or whoever, I forget, you know, I forget what it was, but like, I mean, you can't even question it. You can't even like bat an eye at it. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that's super realistic. I don't think anybody would have that kind of reaction, you know?
I mean, I've had friends come out to me and I've had that reaction. Like, I mean, it
Well, like friends are different. I
it's
mean,
well, I mean, even if a family member came to me, like, I mean, it's just coming to terms with like society is changing and you have to learn to accept certain things that are now commonplace that maybe weren't commonplace 15, 20, 30 years ago.
yeah.
And on the wokeism topic, I was thinking about this earlier when I was thinking about Star Trek. It's been present since forever. There's an episode of Star Trek Voyager where they have an entire planet of non-binary humanoids. They have both sets of reproductive genitalia, and their society looks down upon identifying with either sex. And there's a character who is being put on trial and like facing um not death, but some bad shit, I don't know. And because that character wanted to identify as a woman. So it's been present since forever, but I mean, Larry, you had a really good comment earlier. If people think it's good, they're not going to complain. Star Trek Voyager is fantastic. I don't know anybody who's complained about it. But I mean, it's been present for so long. You
Well,
know,
yeah, I mean, wokeism's been going for a while. I mean, I would argue that like in that scenario, I mean, it was an alien planet, so the concept is alien by nature, you know, which does, you
well,
know, that doesn't
but
provide a format for what we should strive to be, you know.
the whole point of Star Trek is like exploration, learning, and growing as a society, as a race of people. And there are very human stories that you can connect and put into a fantasy world, but there's an overarching like lesson or
Yeah.
idea behind it that you can apply to your real life. Like it
I've seen
comes
Star
like
Trek.
in, yeah.
Not a lot, not a lot. I just to provide you a super hot take. You said it was a hot take that Star Trek was like better than Star Wars. I'm gonna give the super hot take that Star Wars is actually setting a very low bar at this point. So it's not that much harder to. It's not hard to be better than Star Wars at this point.
I'm not caught up in the Star Wars
I saw
universe.
I saw all three of the sequel movies.
Well, apparently they suck.
I couldn't believe
Can
what I was seeing.
sorry.
I'm sorry. I saw I was I can't watch the original three. They're too dated for me. I just can't watch them. I tried. I couldn't. The prequel movies, I didn't have cable growing up, and I had them all on VHS, so I watched them over and over. just watched, just watched them over and over. The prequel series, I believe, blew the sequel series. Just, we got to put that on docket for next one. That's one topic.
Okay.
That's one topic. Star Wars is that's a whole thing. But
Touching on the aerial thing real quick, if I can, before we like get on to something else, I just
yeah.
want to mention. Did you hear about the guy who said he was gonna like race swap Ariel back to white with AI?
No.
So this guy, this guy used AI on like the original ad, and he race swapped the black Ariel back to white, and there was this massive backlash of this guy calling him like racist and all this stuff. And like the crazy thing to me is that these same people are the ones who are like, why do you care so much? You know, why do you, and that's like I hear this from the left all the time. It's always like, all right, why do you care so much? Why do you, you know, it's like, well, but you're the one pushing this stuff, you know? And it's like, and you can tell that they're the ones that care so much because when someone switches it back, they're not going like, oh, I never cared that much to begin with. They absolutely railed on this guy because he said he could like AI, you know, fix the entire movie in like less than a day. And everybody was going off on this guy. He got banned off like every platform. Um, and so, I mean, that's, you know, it's clear who actually cares. You know what I mean? The
I
people.
have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You
Go ahead.
take a cartoon,
Hmm.
you make it live action. A living human person playing this new character.
Mhm.
Somebody on the internet doesn't like that there's a real human doing it. So they take this real human and whitewash her into a different real human. That's the problem. They're taking a real person and race swapping that real living person versus a fucking cartoon.
Wait. Hold on. Hold on. So wait. You're telling me they turn. You're telling me they turn Holly Bailey's body into.
They made her a white ginger girl again. Yeah.
And that's why people have a problem with it, because this poor girl got a role and she was very excited for it, and we should celebrate her success for her personal life. But to take this black girl and make her a white girl to appease the white conservatives because they're turning our cartoons black, like, that's ridiculous.
So, why do you care so much, though? You know, just like
Because it's a real person. Let that person be confident in what they're doing. Don't try to change that real living person.
well, she's playing a character, so it's still a fictional character. I would say don't race swap the character, and then you don't have to race swap the person.
You don't have to race swap the person. That's an active choice somebody made. I don't like this black girl. I'm going to turn this black girl into a white girl. That's the problem. You never had to. You could race swap whatever fucking cartoon you give me. I don't care. It's a cartoon. I'm not like everybody, though. I understand other people don't agree with my line of thinking. Other people want more diversity. It's a cartoon. You know, I'm not going to cry about it. But when you're going out of your way to change somebody who's living and breathing and just trying to have fun with their life to fit a different political idea, that's fucked up.
I don't think it's fitting it's not fitting a political idea to just make the character true to who the character is supposed to be.
She's a mermaid. It doesn't matter.
Well, if it doesn't matter, then let them race swap her, you know, however they want.
They could do whatever they want. It's a fictional character.
Okay,
Who cares if they made a white mermaid into a black girl?
Okay, that's fine. Then who cares if they AI change her back to white? Who cares?
Because it's a living black girl now that they're altering.
it's a fictional character. A lot of the movie's 3D, which is
It is
already
a real person playing a fictional character. She's not a CGI woman. Her face is real. Her skin is real.
right.
I can
But I mean,
see. Listen, I can see. I okay. I can see where both of y'all are coming from. Rule. I'm starting with you, right?
Yes, Dad. I'm sorry.
This. Shut up. You're grounded. And anyway, there is a meme. There's a few memes where folks have had enough of the race swapping, and they didn't went and made like these like movie posters for Martin Luther King, and it's the Netflix version, but Tom Hanks is playing Martin Luther
Oh
King.
yeah, I've seen those.
And then there's like the one where Chadwick Boseman is like it's Ryan Reynolds and he's playing Black Panther now and stuff like that. Like I get
that's not the next.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying about them changing that girl. Like they went and straight up AI that girl to be white. Like Shade, I'm gonna ask you, did they like was the resemblance of Holly Bailey, or did they just change it into a white woman?
You'll have to look it up. But I think it's I wouldn't say that it's like a Halle Bailey with just white skin. I would say they kind of like changed some of her like features. I think I haven't seen it in a while, but I would encourage you to look it up. It's really interesting, just from an AI standpoint, like what they can do. You know what I mean? Like this guy said he could do the entire movie in less than a day, but that was like he wasn't
Damn.
doing it because he was a some like right wing extremist that like hates black people. He was doing it from like I think it was the guy was like talking about his friend who was into AI and like did that with the trailer, and he was posting what his friend did, and what his friend was saying was he could do the movie in less than a day. But his friend was just interested in it from like an AI perspective. It was like an experiment, you know. He wasn't trying to push a political agenda. He was just like, "Hey, look at this crazy stuff I can do with AI," you know. And I mean, that's my understanding of what happened was, it wasn't a political thing being pushed. It was, and there was so much backlash that the guy who posted the trailer got like banned off everything, of
Wow.
course.
I don't agree with that. Like give them some heat. You know, they can clown them in the comments, tell them they can call them racist, whatever, call them whatever they need to. You know, they can. I think it's within everybody's right to be upset with something in the way that social media is structured. I think it's fine that folks comment, tell them that whatever they can say whatever they want to them, but I don't agree with displatforming somebody for something like that, right? Like the to my understanding, a lot of the terms of service with a lot of these social media accounts is like you're supposed to ban people for flat out racism, right? You're supposed to ban people for dangerous threats, being dangerous, things that would cause harm to folks. Someone changing the damn mermaid, changing the mermaid and publishing. Okay, I mean maybe they're gonna try and get him for like copyright or something, because I mean he did take the movie and change the character, right? Like
That's
you're
fair, yeah.
you're switching their you're messing with these people's IP. That's their product. They put a lot of money and they lost a lot of money on this movie. All
Oh
right.
yeah. It
They
bombed.
got murdered. And, I'm sure that tensions and feelings are already quite high. But I don't think that's a reason to deplatform somebody. Like, I mean, a lawsuit, bring some lawyers into it or something like that. Sure, of course, but to like deplatform somebody from like the prominent, social medias is kind of, I
I think
don't
you,
know, man. That's kind of
I,
crazy to me.
I think YouTube had a good idea to begin with the whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing. You can clearly see how many people liked versus disliked something, and they removed the dislike because they didn't like that a lot of their stuff was getting completely ratioed, like 100 times the number of dislikes. We're like, we're not going to show that anymore. And then like other things just never even added a dislike button or removed the dislike button. So it's like, you know, if people like, why can't we see how many people dislike something? You know what I mean? Like, why why is that option being removed? And and it's like when someone says something that the people who own the platform don't agree with, they're just silenced, they're kicked off. And
Well, I can tell you guys why. When 20th Century Fox releases a trailer for the freaking, I don't know, Peter Pan movie or Lion King or whatever, I don't know, whatever. I know those are Disney. But if 20th Century Fox releases a trailer on YouTube and it gets downvoted into oblivion, that's bad marketing, right? That's bad marketing. And
Yep.
they're not going to want to put their stuff on YouTube anymore. They're going to go back to legacy media and just putting it, where folks can't just manipulate it. So YouTube did what they needed to do to keep these advertisers and basically, hit it and whatever. I still think it's lame, but that's, to my understanding, that's what happened.
Capitalism. Yeah.
Don't you love it?
Spreading the woke culture.
My medication's so expensive and I love it. I love
Hate life.
God, I love my cars being $40,000 for a Toyota Corolla. I love it. I'm like, okay.
Crying forever.
I've been wanting to get into this. All right.
All right.
Okay. Y'all need to hear this. This is hilarious. And it kind of ties in with our discussion from last week that we ended on. But this is different. This is wild.
Okay.
All right. So I'm minding my own business. I'm working. I'm doing my thing. I pick up my phone. I check Twitter. On Twitter, I see this man and woman showing their wedding photos. All right. I'm like, congrats. You guys are married. Just like a lot of the percent of the population. Welcome to the club. And I almost scrolled past it. And I said to Mark, I said, Larry, hold on. You need to go into the comment section. Why are you seeing this? And what I saw would open up a rabbit hole that I have been on for the past week or so.
Okay.
Inside, they were like, hold up. Y'all have only been married a month. Go check her not Facebook. Go check her Twitter page. The girl's name is LenaThePlug. And on her page, on her Twitter page, there was an OnlyFans posting advertisement for a porn video shoot that she was doing with another guy. In the video, the pinned video, I swear it may still be there.
It is. It sure is indeed.
She's bent over. And there is an absolute gargantuan black man behind her. All right. And he's like flexing his chest and whatever. And she was like, yep, it finally happened. Blah, blah, blah. Our video's going to come out in July. And I said, I don't think that's her husband. All right. I don't think that's the dude. So I said, I gotta investigate this. I gotta search the comment section for clues, y'all. Mm-hmm. And what I found out. All right. LenaThePlug used to be a YouTuber turned to an OnlyFans adult actress. All right. Mm-hmm. Her husband, who she married, is some other YouTuber guy named Adam22. Him and her, for the longest time, were doing videos where they would go and they would have sex with other women. But as soon as they got married, it was time for her to sleep with another man. All right?
Okay.
The video drops. Okay, the video drops, and Twitter blew up. All right, they were clowning Adam because if you watch any bits and pieces of this video, we're all adults. You can go check it out. They've already leaked it because what was found out was not only was this man letting his wife sleep with the porn actor guy, he recorded it and edited the video. And guys, you'd have to see the video. That's all I can tell you. You don't have to see all of it. There's bits and clips. There's bits and clips that people have leaked from it. But could you guys? Rule put her glasses down. Rule said, I gotta see this in 4K, dude.
Hold on.
Rule said, let me investigate real quick. Listen, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at some of the angles, and I'm looking at, like, all the stuff going on. And, dude, my heart hurt. My own heart hurt for this man. And I'm like, oh my God. To the point to where, like, the bits and pieces of the video that I saw. Yes, I saw the video, whatever. I saw the video, and then, like, it became apparent to me that there's a lot of things wrong here. First off, you can't let no man have sex with your woman and the dude got face tattoos. That's the first problem. All right?
Yeah, face tattoos. Go on.
Excuse me?
I said, yeah, that's the problem, the face tattoos.
Yeah. That's the first problem. That's strike one. All right? Because that's showing me the person who's having their wife screwed. That's the only job he could get. You get what I'm saying? You hear him? Roll, you get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, Roll? Rule is Rule is shook right now.
What?
So the second is that, like, bro released, I think I have this bookmark because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I have to find, this was the first post after the release of the video. I have to show it. I have to find it. I swear I took a screenshot of it. Because I couldn't believe what I've seen. Bear with me, guys. If you guys could chat about something while I find... Okay, I found it. This is what Adam22 said. He says, it's officially been a week since I let my wife do a porn with another guy. I felt a little jealous at first, but overall, it wasn't that big of a deal. She's watched me sleep with hundreds of girls, and it never affected our relationship. Sleeping with that gentleman has been amazing for both her career and our business @plug talk show. Overall, I'm glad we did it, and I'm happy to report her vagina has returned to its original pre-BBC size.
That's unnecessary. That last line, unnecessary, but everything else I agree with.
Yeah, so, I mean, size-wise, I haven't watched the video. I can tell that the man is very well endowed based on your commentary. But, I mean, she's probably had toys. You know, she's a porn star. She probably had toys bigger than that. I don't know. I don't know if the size is really, like, the issue here. I think the issue is, like, don't be a cuck. You know, everyone knows that being a cuck is a bad thing. It's humiliating as a man. You know, it's not a good thing to be a cuck, and we all know that. That's why calling a man a cuck is a huge insult. But it's also not, you know, if you're having sex for money in the first place, then you're a prostitute. And we also all know that being a prostitute's a bad thing. Yeah, I mean, at least most of us do. So don't be a prostitute either. And that includes porn stars. You know, if you're having sex for money, you're a prostitute. I don't think it'd be good, even if they were just recording themselves having sex. I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, it's not good to just consume porn. It's not healthy, especially for like the male mindset to just be like constantly consumed with porn. It's not good for your sex life. It creates impotence. Um, you know, if you're horny, if you want to see a naked woman, you know, get a girlfriend or a wife, you know, and see her naked. You know what I mean? And that's a very healthy way to indulge in your sex drive. You know, so even consuming porn is not it's not ideal. You know, it's definitely hurt society, I think. But I mean, especially being in porn, you're prostituting yourself, and you know, being a cuck is just an extra, you know, negative thing on top of that.
Rule, you go first. In response to Shade, I have a response as well to what Shade has said. I may have a response to you too. I'll let you go. I'll let you go first.
I mean, I personally wouldn't get into that industry. I'm not gonna damn anybody for doing it. If they're getting money, you go. You know, I am in no position to lay judgment on people for how they want to use their bodies and share that with the world and make money from it. If you're confident and you're able and you're doing it, good for you. You know, as for the whole being a cuck thing, I mean, 50-50, you know. She had to sit there and watch him fuck other people. You know, this is the first time she gets to, you know, give it right back. Good for her. And she got money to do it. And they're still married. They seem to have a good relationship if they're able to do this kind of stuff. So great for them. You know,
Yeah.
I don't believe in like, I don't know, morality is subjective. It's independent to the person. Just because I won't do something doesn't mean it's right or wrong if somebody else is doing it. As long as it's not harming me directly, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think there's a
but
much bigger conversation we could have about subjective morality because, you know, if we all had our own set of morals, then how is the society supposed to, you know, be cohesive in any way? You know, if
it's
I think,
not.
well, then it's not a society, is it? It's all of us just like sitting alone in our apartments doing things that other people would find disgusting, you know, and we're not engaging in any kind of constructive society building at all, you know, because we all have different ideas. You know, if I'm in my room torturing a cat, who are you to tell me that I can't do that? You know, like just leave me alone. It's subjectively, you know, in my own subjective morality, you know, cats aren't people, so what does it matter? I can just torture them all I want, right? I don't think that's true. You know, I think that to a certain degree we have to practice moral collectivism. You know, and that way we can have a cohesive society where that's how you build laws, for example. You know, I mean, we have to
Mhm.
determine laws based on morality. You know, we want our laws to be moral. But I don't necessarily think, you know, prostitution should be illegal. You know, I think it's okay to have social stigmas against things that aren't necessarily illegal. But I don't have to like advocate for there to be a stigma against prostitution or against being a cuck. I think we all know viscerally that those things are negative, you know, and we can kind of try and train our brain not to have that reaction. But it is a gut reaction. You know, anyone who hears this story is like, oh man, I feel so sorry for, oh, he's like, you know, like, oh, he's so demoralized. You know, it's such an unmanly thing to do. And it's like there's something deep in us, you know, in our DNA that just knows that that's different, you know, than him and his wife sleeping with a bunch of women. Because, you know, and this is a whole other conversation, but, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of issues come back to the fact that men and women are different, you know, and that branches off into all kinds of different subjects. But, you know, we're just men and women are not exactly the same. You know, we're different categories for a reason. And, you know, I could go, you know, all over the place with that. I won't get lost in that topic. But I think the fact that we have, you know, just different gut reactions to like, oh, okay, they sleep with a bunch of women. Yeah, okay. And then we hear like, oh, his wife got like, you know, pegged by this massive guy. And we reacted that differently, you know, because we know deep down, we know it's different, whether we tell ourselves it is or not.
Gotcha. Well, I'll start. I'll
Mhm.
start with my response. Shade, first off, you better not be torturing cats, or I'll have to contact the Justice Department. We're coming for you, Shade, if that's the case. But second, I'm just messing.
I have killed some chickens. Don't tell anybody though.
Okay, all right. I won't tell nobody about this.
It was quick and painless though. It wasn't torture.
All right. Let me get to these guys really quick. Here's a biggie for me, and something I don't quite understand about the situation. They have a history of having threesomes or orgies or whatever with these other women. And till this week, there were thousands, maybe millions of people who did not know who Adam22 nor LenaThePlug were. They didn't know. They didn't know until she slept with this guy that they had this, organized, signed off thing with. And I don't really understand why it blew up the way it did, other than it just seemed very embarrassing for Mr. 22. You know what I mean? Like, because more details were revealed. This thing was so popular that Jason Love, who was the, if you guys want to look him up, Jason Love was the male actor in the video, and he's doing post-game interviews like he had just like it was like a sporting event, and he's he's basically giving like a play-by-play of like what happened and what occurred. And like, to add even more embarrassment, turns out things got carried away and they deviated from the original plan that they had set. And he ended up coming inside of her because she would not get off of him. Like, she was in a whole nother dimension of pleasure, I guess. And it wasn't even part of the plan how it even ended. So, like, you're already doing something you're uncomfortable with, but like, now it's not. It's your wife's in another zone that you possibly will never be able to match. The forbidden door has been opened, and you can for goddamn certain believe that this won't be the last. You know what I'm saying? I think Adam may be in a spot here because y'all made a lot of money. All this, all the virality of it all has made you guys a lot of money. Well, now, it's clearly got to happen again. If she enjoyed it that much, which she says she did, and he is talking about how much he enjoyed her having fun and all the money he made and doing all this stuff, like, it's got to happen again at some point, which makes me worried because, like, he can't match that energy. You know what I'm saying? He can't match that. Man, we are all very much built differently. You know what I mean? And I'm worried that he's not going to be able to match that energy. Shade, to jump back to what you were saying really quick. Prostitution should be very much legal, in my opinion. It needs to be legal. It needs to be legal. And the biggest reason that I think it needs to be legal is because it would absolutely destroy human trafficking. It would bottom out the entire market if it did. What product would you have if it's widely available? I'm sure weed's not even worth as much as it once did because of how widely available it is. whether you getting it off the street or getting it from a dispenser. I heard going to a dispenser is more expensive. Is that right, Rule? Like, is it more expensive to get it?
I mean, it's commercialized, yeah, but you're guaranteed safety.
You know,
Gotcha.
I just want to point out real quick. I had a little bit of brain fog as you were talking, because like in my mind, prostitution is legal. To be honest with you, so I was like, what does he mean? Because like I said, I honestly think of a lot of this stuff like OnlyFans and other things as prostitution, and I know that even like literal, like paying for actual sex with strangers, that happens all the time. It's like legal in some places. Like somewhere in uh like Vegas or something. I don't know for sure.
In
But
Nevada, the only legal brothels in the entire country, to my understanding, are in the outskirts of Las Vegas.
right, but
They're in the outskirts, not even Las Vegas proper. You have to go out in the boonies to go to these
right.
places.
Right,
And
but it
stuff.
takes so many forms, like sugar daddies, for example, like that. It's most of its forms are legal. You just can't, like you can't go up to a woman on the street and be like, "Hey, I'll give you $100 for sex," But even when they catch people doing that, I think it's just a slap on the wrist. So
You'll get a charge for sure, but like, I mean, imagine a world where that didn't happen.
yeah,
Imagine a world where a woman can just put on her Facebook page, "These are my prices," and you could just pay the prices and you get fulfilled. Because here's the thing about porn, jumping from prostitution to porn, okay? Porn is fake. It's very fake. And a lot of people don't where issues things tend to get murky is that a lot of people don't understand, a lot of guys don't understand that it's fake. You can't go and do what these people are professionals, what they're doing, right? And if you try and take some of this stuff to the bedroom, it may not translate correctly, right?
you
It's
can
just
also just record yourself having actual sex and post that. I mean, that's also porn. But I get it's like the wrestling thing, like the big theatrical stuff, where it's like changing camera angles, that's fake. But I mean, if it's just some like grainy like cell phone, like this, and just people, in the background having sex, I mean, that's probably real. Someone just setting up a camera and having sex.
yeah, you could do that, right? But a lot of guys, there are a lot more single guys than there are a lot more single women. A lot of guys aren't getting women. They just aren't. They either don't have the game, they don't know how to talk to, or they're butt ugly. They're ugly. They're done. They're washed. All right? That's they don't have it in them, right? So their only outlet is pornography, right? Because after a certain amount of time, if men don't come, men go crazy. All right? And I think that's where porn serves a very good purpose. It brings a lot of men back down. And I feel like if prostitution was legal as well, if more men could have the access to be available to have those types of services in a safe manner, and women could provide these services in a safe environment, away from pimps, away from bad organizations and stuff like that. If they could have the opportunity to exchange these services, I think the whole thing could be something that helps people prosper. It's the oldest profession, for a reason. And I think it would overall it would just I think it would lower crime. I think a lot of people, you know,
Well, if you're
it could destroy the family unit too though. There's downsides to it as well.
if you're changing something from illegal to legal, then by definition you're going to be creating less crime. People do that all the time because they want to report less crime in their cities or whatever, so they just stop charging people with crimes or they legalize things. The argument you're making sounds a lot like the whole legalized drug thing. I think at the end of the day, well, I want to say first of all that
Go ahead.
I
Go
wouldn't
ahead.
conflate masturbation with pornography because you don't need to watch pornography to masturbate. But I also don't think that I don't think it would be beneficial to encourage that behavior. I don't think it would be beneficial for the women to be treated like objects. And, like they should be, having sex with their husbands, frankly, and I don't think it's good for young men to be incentivized to just pay for sex rather than, get a wife. I think like you kind of alluded to, it is the degradation of the family, which isn't good for society.
I go ahead, bro.
I mean,
You're cooking. I see you.
I just like, who really cares? Like, I don't know. I like that society is turning into something where people want to go out and sell sex. They can. I think it's awesome.
You
And
want more prostitution?
I, doesn't hurt me any. I'm not gonna go out and buy a prostitute, but I'm not gonna like, I feel like if people wanted to, they should be able to.
Well, if you don't care either way, like then you know, I mean, if you're pretty neutral about it, like, would you say you would prefer more prostitution or less prostitution?
I see the benefits of more.
Really?
I think like maintain safe brothels would be the best case scenario for legalized prostitution. Like Larry was saying, it's a safe environment, it's regulated, the women are treated with respect, everybody's clean, you know,
Yeah,
there's no real danger in that.
that's what's going on. I saw a video on YouTube. A guy went out and just talked to like brothel owners and a lot of the women that worked in the brothels and stuff, and they don't play around. All of it's ran through law enforcement. Like they get the papers, they handle all the documents, they have to do tests every week. It does not it's no game. My biggest thing, Shade, is not it's not that I wish for like the degradation of the it's not that I wish for the degradation of the family unit, but I have a feeling, and I have a dark feeling that a lot of the people that I'm talking to, men specifically, they're not gonna get a family. A lot things have changed. The way dating is even done has changed. It's more superficial than it used to be. A lot of people a lot of people are better in person than they are online, but they never get that opportunity. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I just feel like opening up sex work in that form, I think it would do more good. And just a difference of opinion. I think it would, me personally, I think it would do more good than it would bad.
Right.
And I mean, it's a hot take, but that's just my thought.
Well, as a conservative, I often draw uh, on like tradition to make judgments on things, and when necessary. And like you said, prostitution's like they call it the oldest profession. So I mean, it's not non-traditional necessarily to be a prostitute. And I don't, like I said, I typically just think of it as legal, because like so many forms of it are legal. I don't think it, you know, what you traditionally think of as prostitution, I don't think it would matter too much to make that legal. But I mean, it is at the same time, it's a bad thing, like it's always existed, but it's always been seen as a bad thing. Like the women who do it have always been looked down on very negatively. The men who participate, less so, but it's not something to be proud of, for sure. And never has been. And I think sometimes it's like laws are made against things just to kind of like keep the stigma. Um, because like if you when you mentioned like women posting their prices on like Facebook, I think that would be a very negative. I wouldn't want it to increase in popularity or increase in price. I know it's never going to disappear, and I'm not saying it should ever disappear for the reasons that you mentioned. There's some guys who start a family, and that's like their only comfort. You know what I mean? Like if it weren't for prostitutes, they would never have sex. And so I don't think I think that it's a necessary thing to exist, sure. And it's always going to be in the kind of like dark corners of society. I think it's when you try and bring it out of those dark corners and like hey, everybody, like just letting you know you can stop by for $100 an hour, anything
Yeah.
goes, on your Facebook, and stuff like that. I think that that's negative. Like that really drags society in the opposite direction that it should be going.
I just think that everybody needs an outlet. Everybody needs an outlet. Everybody needs a vice. I guess you could say, and I'll say this with no shame. I kind of lean more on like a men's advocacy type realm where I've seen a lot of things as I've grown up. I've seen a lot of what men go through. I mean, I've seen a lot of what everybody goes through, but as a man myself, I've seen a lot, and I think about what could make our situation as a whole better, you know. And I'm, you know, I hear what I hear what you're saying. I mean, I'm imagining like a Facebook ad, and someone say, "Hey man, $50, man, I'll come rub your feet," you know, put it on Facebook. And they're like, "Wait,
Hell
what?"
yeah.
We should do a whole like men's advocacy, topic at some point.
Yeah, but yeah, y'all got anything else before we cut? We've gone very long tonight.
Oh, yeah, we have.
We've gone longer than I thought we would. It's been fun.
Don't be a cuck, guys. That's my final thoughts.
Got you. Oh, to go on that, I think I've watched porn before. I'm a grown man. I'll tell you straight up. I've watched it before. Cuckold porn is some of the weirdest porn I've ever seen. I've ever stumbled across. Huh?
What kind?
It's called cuck. Comes from the word cuckold.
Oh, sorry. I just
No, you're fine.
didn't hear clearly.
Well, technically, it came originally from the bird. I think you know about the bird, right? The cuckoo bird.
Mm-mm.
So like it's a bird that will lay its eggs in the nest of another bird, and the other bird comes back and it raises the egg of this completely unrelated bird, and it'll the cuckoo the cuckoo bird will like the egg will hatch first, and sometimes they'll even push the actual babies out of the nest and like kill them, and they just completely drain the resources of these of the bird. They're like parasite birds, you know, and that's where the term comes from, because you know a cuck is, you know, up in the they might end up raising, you know, some other guy's child, basically thinking it's their own.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was saying, to go back to it, it's some of the weirdest porn I've ever seen. It's so weird. It's one of the porns that like I've seen, and it made me uncomfortable. I had to turn it off. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand what I was seeing. It's so weird. It's just a guy in a chair at the foot of the bed, and the woman's having sex with the other dude, and he's just like, and I'm just like, I can turn this off and press X. But
Well, what's his face, 22 or whatever? He didn't invent like but I mean, to be fair to him, if you're going to be a prostitute, you know, be good at it. You know, get a lot of money for very little, and that seems to be what he did. You know,
they're making money.
They're raking it in. Yeah, they're
making money.
So I mean, if you're going to do it, you know, get rich from it, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure they've made $1 million from that super mid video, because it didn't make me want to pay for it. Rule, what you got?
I don't know. I'm a little high.
Oh God, old suited Rule, man. Rule's always high.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. We'll be back next Sunday with some more topics.
Cool beans.
All right. See y'all later.